Hi there, and welcome to the Lies We Left podcast. My name is Rachel, and I'm here with my sisters, Brooke, Erin, and Ashley. We're a podcast of four sisters and their journey through trauma. Just a little kind of disclaimer, we are not professionals, and some of the content that we might be talking about might be too mature for younger listeners, so just keep that in mind. Today's session, we're going to be talking about mental health and mental health as it relates to our growth and our development as people maturing and coming through, the kind of the shadows of trauma. Ashley's going to be talking or starting us off.
Oh, okay. I guess my first question to all of you is, what is mental health to y'all? Like when you think of mental health, because I think everybody has different definitions. So how would all of you describe mental health?
I don't know. Something I have to work on a lot.
I feel like it's different avenues and different things that help me combat the chemical imbalance that is myself. I feel like I've definitely got chemical imbalances and things that, because of past damages and moving forward, I have different ways to combat that and help that. Medication being one thing. And, I feel like it's a multifaceted approach to help me with the chemical imbalances that I deal with.
Erin, Brooke, what about y'all?
I don't know. I look at mental health as strategies to kind of coexist with yourself and what's going on in your environment. Well, mental health. I kind of have like a love-hate relationship with mental health because I've for so long, I've ignored it. And I think that that's my, not mental health, but trying to get better in my mental health. So I feel like within these past few months, I'm starting to realize when I'm triggered, but sometimes I don't even, I know I'm triggered, but my immediate reaction is to bury it, to ignore it. And so for me, I'm still kind of learning. I think for me, what mental health is.
I know when I'm triggered, but I'm not always able to identify what has triggered me. It's really weird.
Like what?
I don't know. I can't really give an example. I would have to ask the person if it's okay to use them as an example. I have scenarios, but I don't want to embellish them.
Yeah.
Mental
health, I think, is kind of hard to define because I think depending on who you're asking, some people may immediately think medication. They think depression and then automatically think, medication, or anxiety and then immediately think medication. I think sometimes that's what we think about solely when we're talking about mental health, but mental health, it actually includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It does affect how we, and I'm reading a definition, this is not me. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence through adulthood. So all of us have been through therapy. So what has everybody been diagnosed with as it relates to mental health?
I had to take a really long test, and I have a screenshot of the synopsis. I have a helper. My helper scored really high. My adversary scored, I think, 30 points behind that. But when I asked my therapist, my EMDR therapist, okay, so what am I? And she goes, well, we're not looking at labels. And I do not want you to Google what these things are because it's going to freak you out. So I never technically got a diagnosis. It was
Really?
always maintained that, yes, there was DID. But she was always very clear of, it's just a word. It's just a word. We're not going to focus on the word. We're going to focus on how to get you better and how to cope.
So, and while I agree with that, here's the thing that, at least for me, what helped me, it's not that I wanted a label for myself so that way I can walk around saying, I have anxiety or I have depression. That wasn't the reason why I liked the label. The reason why the label helped me is because it helped me learn more about myself. It helped me to understand what was like psychologically going on inside of me. And I could actually do more research about anxiety. I could do more research about depression. I could, understand that if I'm, like really, really, really sad, sometimes that is anger.
I
know?
do agree with you that it helped having a name put to high functioning anxiety.
Yeah.
Because once I got a name for it, I could see it for what it was. And then I was able to identify it when I was doing those things and then go into in-depth questions. Okay, what does high functioning anxiety look like? What does it mean? How do I present it? So, yeah, I guess in a sense labels do help just to get indicators, basically.
Yeah. I was diagnosed with, by my therapist, with complex PTSD, anxiety, depression, OCD, and then DID. And so for me, knowing those things, the DID was the thing that helped me the most in understanding how I responded to just everyday life, probably more so than anything else. The complex PTSD was really interesting for me as far as understanding that I was having flashbacks. Back in 2016 when I had that memory, that was a flashback.
Yeah.
I was triggered and I had a flashback. And I proceeded to ignore that for 2 years. So I think that when I finally started recognizing my diagnoses or diagnoses? Diagnoses, right? Yeah, diagnoses. When I discovered that about myself, it helped me to kind of get on this path to, okay, how do I help myself? Because for me, if I don't clearly see something, like if I can't clearly label what's going on, I feel very overwhelmed. And so having those diagnoses really helped me to move forward.
Kind of like a jumping off point. Something like this is a place to start.
Not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way, no. I don't. I was diagnosed with PTSD, with an anxiety disorder. I still have panic attacks. And if I'm in a triggered season, I have them quite often. And I have a major depressive disorder. So, and I would probably be, I'm only on a couple of medications, but going back to kind of what you were saying, that's because my resources in dealing with those are very multifaceted. If I didn't meditate, I would need to be on more medication than I am right now. Absolutely, without a doubt. If I didn't meditate, if I didn't do frequent guided meditations, I would need to be on more medication than what I am.
What about with you, Erin? If you want to share.
Yeah, so, in the past I've been diagnosed with depression. I don't know if I still would be classified as that. I think I can have, depressive episodes. Not to the point where I'm, I can't get out of bed or anything, but I don't know if I still have it or not. But definitely anxiety and DID and PTSD.
So, and for y'all with these, I'm interested if y'all even know the answer to this. Was there ever a point with y'all that your mental health was going so ignored that it caused you to have to take like a very different route and how to help yourself.
What do you mean? Like,
so like I know an
if
example,
you're ignoring it and then you're deciding to take it on?
like if you've been ignoring it for so long that it forces you to have, like your body almost forces you to have to make a change, basically. Did any of y'all ever have that point? One that I think of with Rachel was when she told her story of dealing with her suicidal ideations and stuff like that. And then finally doing what she needed to do. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, did y'all ever have like your low moment like that caused you to finally start taking your mental health? Not that you didn't take it seriously, but was there ever that breaking point with y'all?
I think for me, there were different levels.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely wasn't just one big moment where you're laying on the ground and just like crying and like, I need help, you know. It's almost like, I don't know how it is for everyone else, but for me, I can't take on a big revelation. I don't think my body is designed for that. So if I were to have this whole revelation of everything that I need to work on, I think it would be too much for me. So I think it's always been in stages for me. I've definitely had like stages of low moments. Most recently, it was like a little over a month ago, I don't know. And I just realized that I was really trying to, even though like I was trying to do therapy and all this other stuff, I was really trying to suppress those thoughts at night. And what I mean by thoughts are, you know, those parts of me, that's when they were so ignored during the day, they would just start revealing themselves at night, and that presented itself in anxiety, in intense anxiety. And I had a very scary moment where it's like I think my whole system just kind of shut down. It was really weird. It was really hard to talk. Lights, it wasn't a migraine, but it was like lights really affected me, and I just had to stay in my bed with like complete darkness. And it was just these, I don't know how to explain it, but that moment is the day after that I realized I've got to do something different, and I've got to start paying attention to my mental health, especially during the day, because all the ignoring presents itself at night. And I'm still struggling with that because I'm not sleeping that great, but I'm trying to work on everything.
What about you, Brooke?
I think like what Erin said, it wasn't just one thing. Like there were stages, but I know like the big rug being pulled out from under me moment was like I had heard about EMDR therapy. I went, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to give this a try. But I really don't know because I think I'm screwed up. I'm inherently flawed and nothing can fix me. And that moment when there was major release, peace, and breakthrough for me with that one moment, and just being able to wail and bawl and get everything out. The drive home, I remember telling myself, you're never going back. It gave me a hope, and I started, I guess in my anxiety, I got more passionate about healing myself. And it was like this light bulb went off. You can take responsibility and heal your parts. Life is going to be great the rest of your life. It's all downhill from now. Like, and it gave me a hope and so now it's more just recognizing, what does little girl Brooke need? Do I need to hug myself? Do I need to be vulnerable and ask my husband, Stephen, can you just hold me? I don't know why I'm anxious, but I am. Do I need to hold my dogs? Like, what do I need? And giving myself that vulnerability to let maybe it's a cup of coffee. I don't know. I don't know. But it wasn't just one big moment. It was little bitty things throughout my life.
I will say, sorry, I think you were about to talk, my bad. I will say, like, within the past 30 days, I realized there is truly no addiction that can help you overcome your trauma. There's truly nothing. You can
Write
look
that down, Brooke, for our little thing on Facebook. I
Oh
like
my
that.
Yeah, I like how you're the one who comes up with the first little quote. That would be you. Anyways. No, but I mean, and it's not like, I think I do have an addictive personality. Like, it could be, constantly eating sugar.
What?
Yeah, girl, dude, sometimes I'll start eating sugar at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Is that addiction, or is that just something that feels good, though?
Well, sugar is addictive.
Agreed with
It's
that.
very addictive.
But to say you have an addictive personality.
I do think I have an addictive personality, yes. But on the same side, I'm so ADHD that I go to and fro from addictions. Like, it's whatever, will help me in the moment or whatever. And it's not like I'm, like, trying to kill myself or anything. It's not like I'm, like, shooting up heroin or anything like that. I mean, it's like little things, because it's your brain telling you, well, this isn't that bad. This is acceptable. Food is acceptable. Alcohol is acceptable in this society. I mean, the wine culture, the mommy wine culture, just grab yourself a glass of wine, all this other stuff. All these things don't necessarily hurt you, but when you try to look for an addiction, for something to
Replace?
something to help you get through the moment constantly, or trying to suppress, I think that is a form of addiction. At least for me.
Do any of you guys struggle with panic attacks the way I do?
Yes.
Really?
Really?
Okay.
Like, I've been having them really bad recently.
What are your symptoms when you have those? I'm curious.
Well, recently I start playing a song over and over in my head.
Ooh.
It sucks.
Yeah.
So I think that is because when I think in those moments when I was being molested, and I can definitely remember this from when I was molested by my friend's brother, I played a song over and over in my head. And so I think I start off playing a song over and over in my head, and then I start trying to control everything. Like, the house is dirty. Oh, my kid's grades. Oh, the kitchen, all this. And then I start feeling that tightness in my chest. And it takes like hours for that tightness in my chest to leave. But sometimes I'll start like not being able to breathe. And it's like really hard. Like, I'll be gasping for air.
I don't struggle with panic attacks near what like I used to, but I've noticed that the one thing I can't gain control over them is when there's a moment where I have to confront someone. I get very tight in the chest. My heart starts racing. I have trouble with words, and it just, like, all logic just goes out the window, and I can't control my voice. I get very passionate, and I don't know why that is. Like, I'm very outspoken. Like, I can sit there and write.
You are?
Yes. Shut up. No, but like, when I have time to think about what I'm saying and formulating my words, I'm a very good writer. But when it comes to the moment, so people are confused, especially my in-laws, because they're like, Brooke is very argumentative. And it's not that I'm argumentative. I'm just not going to, I'm losing my words right now.
I can't quit snorting.
Sorry. I'm outspoken, and I'm the first one to say, no, that's not right. And it comes off as combative. It can come off as, but that's okay because it's in a text message. That's easy. It's when I'm in the moment, I just feel all panic, and then I go away thinking, I should have said this. Well, I should have said that. But in the moment, I just get extreme anxiety. It's really weird.
What about you, Rachel?
My chest gets really, really tight. my shoulders and my hands start shaking and will not stop until the panic attack goes away.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have balance and mobility issues because I'm shaking so badly. It's so
I
frustrating.
have noticed like that tightness in the chest. It's like you just want to like claw at your skin to try to like remove that tightness. I don't
Yeah.
know, like I feel like that sometimes.
So I think going back as far as Rach, what about for you? As far as like a moment, like Brooke put it, having the rug pulled out from underneath you where you feel like you really needed to start addressing your mental health.
I think you already said it.
Oh, okay. I didn't
With,
know
like,
if that was the only.
There
okay.
was that, and then, oh my God, I lost a friend. And that wrecked me. Oh my God, that wrecked me. That still wrecks me. Yeah. One of the first people. Losing that friend was really bad. He's the first guy that ever, deep friends, and was the first guy that ever treated me like I had some value. He's the first guy that I was ever safe with or felt safe with. And, yeah, my anxiety, everything. Because that person, in my mind, should still be with us right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was very, very special.
He was a great guy. He really was.
Yeah.
Making me cry, Rachel.
Sweetest person ever.
Yeah. I would
You're
say.
gonna give me a panic attack talking about this. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry. I would say, as far as me, I would say last year was one of those
Yeah.
moments that I really had to reevaluate the way I was living and really needed to do something different for myself. I don't think I've ever been so anxious in my life, and I don't think I've ever had a panic attack. I thought that my worst panic attack was when I passed out, but I think the worst panic attack that I've ever had was last year, and it lasted over 2 hours, and I could not calm down. Like, I was on the brink of like wanting to pass out, but it's like it would have been better if I did, because it would have been over after that, but I wouldn't. And so I kept hitting these highs and lows, and it just would not go away, and it was the most scary experience. And it, that was really right after Granny had passed and stuff like that, and it was just super, super hard. And I never got on medication or anything like that to help with from just being so depleted from the EMDR. So I think it was I was just so beat after everything with Granny that I just continued to do so bad. Just panic attacks every single day. Panic attacks when I went to sleep. It would wake me up. I couldn't sleep. Or if I did sleep, I slept too long, or, something like that. And I finally decided that, I was so scared to get on medication. But for me, I was so scared. And for me, that's what I needed to do to get myself back up. And that was one of the best decisions that I've made in a long time. And I got out of the job that I was in.
I think we even had a conversation. We were sitting on the couch in your house, and you were explaining to me. It's not funny. It's not funny, but it is funny. You were giving me all the reasons, and I was like, so what I hear you saying to me is that you are having anxiety about your anxiety, and you're having anxiety about taking anxiety medication.
Well,
Yeah,
in
you're
her
like,
defense,
well,
though,
when you put it that way.
in Ashley's defense, she had multiple times of bad reactions to medication.
that-
So the fear was very real.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
all over here, Ashley, take this pill. You'll feel better. And bless her heart, she was just terrified of, and I think that is synopsis with how mental health is. I think we're all afraid of the thing that can really help us. But Ashley also got a lot better when she started doing martial arts. I noticed a huge change. At that time, you started taking medication, but something in you shifted when you got your head right on the mat.
I'm not trying to debunk what you just said, but it's so hard for me to like look back at that time because like even though that was helping the physical stress of things, my mental health was just still so depleted.
But
like,
I saw you, like from an outsider looking in, you carried yourself differently. There was a confidence and a calmness to you.
Well, yeah, because you were beating up all these guys.
And she was too. What type of martial arts were you doing? Was it judo?
I did everything pretty much. That's
So
what these classes
Judo,
taught.
Muay
Yeah.
Thai.
Yeah, I did pretty much everything.
What else? But not our listeners don't know what everything means.
Oh,
like
sorry.
So Muay Thai, judo, grappling. What I
Yeah,
don't,
I mean you just listed it all.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It was
Grappling. That's like a hook, isn't it?
what?
Yeah,
so
It's
Grappling?
like wrestling.
Yeah,
That's the
like-
gun that gets you up walls.
No, I thought that's like a rock climbing term.
all right.
Grappling. You're
So-
grappling.
I
I don't know.
I
Anyways.
have some interesting kind of changing gears here. I have some interesting things to talk about as it relates to mental health because I think for me when I discovered this in therapy, it just really helped me. So maybe it's helpful for someone else. Everybody, if you struggle with like mental health and especially if you grow up in an environment that's not healthy, everybody can have three core beliefs about themselves, or one of them is unlovability, worthlessness, and helplessness. So when I identified that core belief, I kid you not, it was just like a door opened for me because it helped me start connecting these dots, putting these puzzle pieces together that it's like, okay, my response, when I get anxious, let me take this back. Let me take this back to this moment, when I felt this specific way, and just cognitively thinking that through has really helped me. One thing that I think people struggle with and maybe we don't talk about it enough because maybe people just don't think about it, is everything can sometimes be in our head, especially if you have anxiety. Everything can be catastrophized in your head.
Yeah.
Everything is a lot worse than it is. And this worksheet that was given to me was just so helpful because not only can you write it down, but you can start memorizing it and putting yourself through this mental process of thinking this out. So here's the first thing. If you have something that's bothering you, or if you're freaking out about something, or even if you're sad, you could use this. What are you worried about? Identify it. Don't be afraid to say it. Like, I always fear that I'm going to die. Like, I always get afraid that, like, my heart is just going to kill me. I don't know why I have that fear, but I just do. It's just this ongoing anxiety that I deal with on a daily basis. So what are
I
we...
know why. It's because when you first started your period, somebody else told you that you were dying.
Oh
you
my
thought you were
gosh,
going
I'm so
to
sorry,
die.
Ashley.
I don't know that that's why I deal
So,
with that,
did we
but
tell that story?
no,
Yes.
hold on. I
Yes,
got to
you
go through
told
this
that
worksheet.
story.
We did talk about it, but I got to go through this because it's so good. So you identify what you're worried about. Then after that, you ask yourself this, how likely is it that your worry will come true? Mm-hmm. Give examples of past experiences or other evidence to support your answer.
Yeah.
So when you just think about that in your head, you're like, okay, so for me, how likely is it that my worry will come true? Well, I mean, I guess you could have a heart attack. That's possible, but past experiences, I've never had one, So then you start kind of like mentally going through it.
But did you die?
Yeah, exactly. If your worry does come true, what's the worst that could happen?
Death.
Yeah. I mean, in my instance, it would be death. But I mean,
You're like, Well, this doesn't make me feel better.
The next question after that is, if your worry does come true, what's most likely to happen?
Death.
Aaron. And then if your worry does come true, what are the chances you'll be okay?
Well, you
And
won't,
then it
because
breaks
you'll
it
die.
down. No. But then it breaks it down. In 1 week, what's the percentage? In 1 month, what's the percentage? In 1 year, what's the percentage?
See, that doesn't work on my
Well,
fear.
I'd be looking up statistics on how
No,
close I
no.
could die.
You're not. You're giving yourself. So the whole point is that it brings you through this mental process of basically showing you that everybody makes things worse than they are.
You're peeling yourself off the wall.
You are. You're truly doing that.
You're using rationality and logic to
You
fight
are.
and combat that.
No, see, mine's working opposite of this. Is making me more anxious talking about it, because my worst fear is that Stephen will die before I will.
Okay, let's work this out right here, right now.
Oh,
Steven,
fuck
are you
no.
okay? Steven.
Brooke, what are you worried about?
That Stephen will die.
How likely is it that your worry will come true?
Very likely. My life has been fucked my
No.
entire life. Bad things happen.
But
Give
did
examples.
How old are you?
He's klutzy. He
No.
he has fallen
Brooke.
in fire.
Brooke,
How old are
give
you? How much older are you than Steven?
What does that have to do with anything?
What's the likelihood that that's going to happen?
He is young.
No,
No.
Shut up.
So the whole point, though, is that you're working yourself down. You're walking yourself not off the cliff, but you're taking yourself off of.
No, this is not helping me walk off a cliff.
All right, well, let me finish. So give examples of past experience to support your answer. So if you do fear that, what is it? Give an example of that to prove your thought.
Okay.
He's not dead.
He hyperventilated, fell into a fire, and his brothers and no one texted me. And I show up, and he has a burn mark all across his face, and they're laughing about it. And
Sounds like it was a fun time.
no, like that was because he does stuff like this all the time. He's klutzy, and he falls and trips, and he's already bad about checking in with me. Like, no joke.
Okay, so no, but hold on. Okay, so but why are you so afraid that Steven will die?
Because I have lost everything in my life, minus you girls. Any relationship that I had, and I know it started from a very young age of losing a boy that he was just removed, and that was my only protector. And I can't imagine, life has been very hard for me, and I can't imagine going a day without Stephen, because he's my rock. Like, we are a team, we support each other, and I can't even.
So I think the synopsis is delving into those kinds of thoughts can make you kind of address the issues and kind of neutralize the anxiety that you're dealing with at that particular moment.
Well, it's not working for me.
Well,
I'm
but,
over here
but
bawling.
Brooke, what I hear, and this is just a non-professional, opinion, but what I hear is you feel like you can't protect yourself, and you need someone to protect you. And so maybe what this could come, you can realize that you can protect yourself because you are very capable. You're so thrifty. You can turn anything into, something ugly into something beautiful. You are the protector of yourself.
No, I know that. Like, I conceal carry. I have a gun. I know how to drop, kick, roll. I mean, I can protect myself. It's not a thing that I feel I need it. It's that I wanted it. For so long, I didn't have it.
The other thing I will say about those worksheets, so helpful because I did them when I did post-traumatic therapy as well. I don't know what I was like. What am I going through when I was in therapy for the post-traumatic stress? You were living with me at that time, and I was like, what are tell me what we're doing. What's the name of what we're doing? And they were like, well, let's just put it this way. These are what we put soldiers through once they come
wow.
back. This
Crap.
is the PTSD
Yes.
therapy that I put. And the girl who helped me through it, I love her to pieces. She was like, let's not put a name on it. Let's not label it.
Yeah.
But let's just say I put a lot of soldiers coming home from war being in this.
Yeah.
I put them through this same therapy. And we're all at different levels. Maybe Brooke isn't ready to enter that level where you stop, and that's okay. That's completely okay. You know, the deeper you want to delve into that, and the more you face that, you know, with bravery, you know, knock yourself out, that's awesome. But if you're at a place where you can't address that and approach that level of raw and the level of honesty and rawness, you know, that's okay too. Being able to see that within yourself is very helpful as well. Just knowing I can't go there right now.
Like the moment you asked one specific question from that list, like what does it look like a week from then? Or and I was just like paralyzed with,
Yeah.
oh shit, I don't know how I could get through that. I don't know. And it just immediately overwhelmed me.
Well, and again, the point is to show that a lot of our fears are irrational. You know, if you do struggle with fear, which I mean, me specifically, the reason why I brought that up is like I struggle with fear a lot. I think us and our family, we struggle with fear a lot.
Absolutely, yes.
And I think that we all deal with that in different ways. So I know that other people deal with fear. And so that's why I think something like that, like Rachel's saying, when you're ready, can be really helpful because it just shows you that everything's okay. You're okay. Your family's okay. Your pets or whatever it is that you're fearing, like everything is really okay. You're putting yourself back in reality and in the safe situation.
I will say that before going through all this stuff, I would just freak out and try to control my environment. Now it comes from a place of, okay, I know it's coming, so I can prepare for it. And that kind of, it's not necessarily controlling your environment, but it's shifted from controlling my environment to preparing for the environment because I know the environment will present itself.
See, in my head, I can't prepare for anything. Or, like, I try to prepare for things, but I'm just like, well, if the world ends, I'm going with it. So what's the point? Like, it's very like, I'm just like, whatever.
No, this was literally our conversation. We were messaging
Oh my
each
God,
other.
should I read the messages?
Yeah,
'Cause they
okay.
were hilarious.
Yeah, so this is Aaron and I will message each other on Instagram, and we'll send each other TikToks and reels and
I sent Brooke a video of a potato chocolate cake that was made in like 1912 and someone
the Great Depression.
in the
Does
Great
that
Depression.
sound good to either
Well,
of you?
no, it doesn't. But the
Oh,
guy
okay.
actually was like, "This is actually really good." So she said, "We bought 5 gallons of whole powdered eggs yesterday. We're getting prepared for the coming year." And I said, "Oh goodness, Brooke, you do realize if the end times are coming, we're all dying. I've been right about everything so far." That's what Brooke say. I said, "And not many Christians will survive. Eggs ain't gonna help you."
no, that's
And then
what
she
Aaron
says-
said.
And she says, "We are nowhere near the end times. There's like 5 more major things that need to happen." I said, "Yeah. You want to live through 5 more major things?"
And then I laughed at
And
that.
then she said, "Touche, but I think we have another few decades before it comes." I said, "Okay, 5 gallons of eggs aren't going to help you for a few decades."
But after that, she said, "Brooke, I really think you have anxiety." And I said, "No, this has nothing to do with anxiety.
I think it does. But anyways.
This was me living without food as a kid, and eggs are the first thing to go." And I was like, "Hey, I can help my family. I will have powdered eggs for everyone, 5 gallons worth."
So this is a good segue to, we kind of already talked about some of this, but not in full depth. What about everyone's like mental health? How does it manifest for y'all? I know Rachel said like she'll get panicky.
Didn't we already talk about this?
Not really. I mean, we kind of said a few things here and there, like some sprinkling of some stuff. Like, I know for me, I guess I'll start. So I guess for me, I'm very much in my head, and I become very fearful, and everything is very like obsessive almost.
Yeah.
My thoughts are very obsessive or compulsive. I do notice that, like, I can tell when now that I've gone from being anxious every single day for a long time to now being more calm, I'm better at paying attention to when my body changes. Like, I can feel the differences.
That's so important.
It really is. And I have never been good about paying attention to that. But now that I do, I can tell. And again, that goes kind of hand in hand with triggers, like understanding what is it that actually triggers you. So that way you understand. So that's what I would say for me.
It depends on the level, but I will have herpes outbreaks with tough anxiety.
Probably from stress.
The stress really, stress will definitely bring on, and L-lysine is your best friend if you have herpes at all. Just for our listeners, there's no way, you don't have to take anything.
Well, I think L-lysine is actually good for everyone.
It is.
From what I understood.
But,
supplement.
And then I call it Monica syndrome. I have to clean everything because it helps me maintain control. It's like the one thing I can control, my own home. Mm-hmm. So I will clean, and it definitely helps relieve stress. But I notice when I stress clean, Monica syndrome, that's when I need to take a breath and be like, okay, what is really going on? Overanalyzing, definitely. I notice that I will get very angry about injustices in the world, and I will become more vocal. Erin actually identified that for me maybe 2 years ago. She was like, Brooke, I think that you are hurting. And I was like, yeah, I'm hurting because these people are. And she was like, but I feel like nobody spoke up for you when you were a kid, and it's manifesting through anger on social media. And she was absolutely right. And I will say I don't go off on tangents as much anymore because of you, Erin.
Thank you. For me, I think definitely in the form of stress, I have to control everything around me. Everything has to be clean. And though I have 3 boys, nothing is ever going to be clean, y'all. Anyways, so it's like I try to control everything. I overanalyze, and my body and then I can't sleep at night. I have anxiety, and then my body just shuts down. And it's just like I am so fatigued. I can't do anything. I have to take off work. That's been happening a lot lately for me.
I agree with that.
You guys work in a stressful environment.
Yeah,
though.
and working for CPS really sucks sometimes because
it's in your face all the time.
Oh, yeah. Like you have to deal with, parents who think that you're the Antichrist, and attorneys that they're doing their job, but I guess, Ashley, you don't really, since you have a better job than I do. But, attorneys can be downright ruthless, and then, it all falls on you. That's really hard for me, is it falls all on me as a caseworker. If something goes wrong, if a kid doesn't get an evaluation on time, if, something happens with placement, it falls on me.
I would also just like to add, in relation, I think, to what Brooke said about stress, it's definitely, I've noticed that with me, like stress. It gets so bad. Like last year, I was literally losing hair, and my hair was not growing because I was so stressed out and I wasn't eating.
Low sex drive?
Yes.
Like low sex drive, low.
What about you, Rach?
I start thinking and thinking and thinking, and I just get lost in my thoughts. and everybody in the world knows that there's something wrong with me except for me. Like, I do this all the time. My kids will be like, Mom, you okay? Yeah, did I say I wasn't okay? No, but your face. Apparently I say everything on my face without actually having to say it. But things bother me very, very deeply. And normally, and it used to be things that I could control. That was almost an easier time, because now the things that bother me, I don't really have a lot of control over. I don't have control over Vladimir Putin, unfortunately. But I deeply love Russian people, and I deeply love the Ukrainian people. I've been to Ukraine, and I've done relief aid there. I know people that are in shelters on a daily basis hiding for their lives. And just damages me in the deepest way, knowing that that I can't do anything about that. Kids are huge triggers. Kids that don't have a voice, that are victimized by brutality and by just the evilness.
Yeah.
In fact, there's been a situation recently that both Aaron and I so disturbed by. You know,
I think it's disturbed everyone in Georgetown.
Oh, I have been posting and blasting this situation. It breaks my heart. It angers me.
I told my son, because he again looked at my face and was like, "What's the matter, Mom? What?" And I finally told him what happened, and he was just like, "What is wrong with people? What is wrong with people in this world?" And but I feel so deeply for those people, and I try to figure out a way to do something about it. Thankfully, we can give to people in Ukraine. We can donate, and we can try to help this, situation that's going on right now. But in the past, it manifested itself in things that I could control. So I would try to control it as much as possible, but being conscious and aware of things that help me, things like self-talk, things like meditation, things like quiet time, being by myself. For me, I know that's a weird thing. That doesn't help a lot of people, but for me, being alone with my thoughts and being able to process really helps me out. But I know that's not for everybody. In fact, some people feel better when they connect with somebody and go and do something with somebody to help them kind of out of that.
I have a question for all of you, and I'll try to answer it myself. Who do you guys admire with how they handle stress? Ashley.
Terry all the way. Terry all the way.
I just admire Dolly Parton. I don't know if she has all this stuff.
I do love her.
I
She's
love Dolly
awesome.
Parton so much, so I don't know how she deals with stress or whatever, but I just love her, so there you go.
I know it's deep, right?
You've got me in a little bit of a pickle here. I'm trying to think.
It just came to me.
I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't really know a lot of people that do amazingly with stress.
Well, I study people.
Well, here's the thing. In order to admire someone who handles stress, you have to know someone who's open enough to talk about what they're dealing with. And no one really talks about this.
I really think our spiritual mentor is pretty good. But then it's hard to say because I don't know. I thought Granny was always really good with stress, I guess. Mm-hmm. I mean, she was very vocal about how she felt.
So my answer is all you guys. Because there are parts. Yeah.
You need to look to someone else.
No, but each of you have coping skills that
are not good.
No. Aaron. No.
Did y'all not hear me talk?
No, but each of you have come through in my life in different ways and are strong in areas that I'm weak in. And even Stephen, my husband, I look to him for how he handles stress. I look to Ashley. I know exactly which sister to call when I'm going through something because I know they will say something that will pull me out of a pit.
Yeah, I guess I do look to y'all for Like, y'all are like my little mini
Mind-blowing.
counselors.
I guess you're right. Like, the more that you're saying that out loud, I'm like thinking about it, and
You
like
call
all
me.
of y'all have really good, like, like you just said, all of y'all I think have different coping mechanisms.
But why can't we see that in ourselves?
I don't have good coping mechanisms. I think I've told this to everyone. I'm still learning.
Well, maybe hoarders would say that you have a really good coping
Oh yeah,
mechanism.
I feel like if someone who was like doing
her
meth
house
or
is
something.
clean.
No, it's. I mean, yeah, no, I don't know.
Man,
It's all about perspective, isn't it?
yeah.
It's all about perspective.
I want to encourage
You
everybody
are the wind
to
beneath my wings.
stop listening to Aaron. No, I'm just kidding. I want to encourage everybody to please check out our website. We have so many amazing
Oh,
resources on there. We have so many books. We have an entire section dedicated to mental health. If you are in a crisis, please reach out for help. You are not alone. You do not have to be alone. Please call 911 if you're in a mental health crisis. To get yourself help, reach out to someone, reach out to us, through Facebook. I think that's probably where we're the most active. If you want to just talk to us, share your story, or, if you need some direction as far as who to go to, there's a link on our website about reaching out for a specific type of therapist if you're interested in that. So if you're wanting somebody through, for EMDR that can help you work through some of your trauma and tap into that, there's a section on there that you can use to look for that type of therapist in your area, or cognitive behavioral specialist, different type of therapies that you can look for. Please check that out. You're not alone. Again, lots of books on there. And thank you so much for continuing to listen to the Lives We Left podcast. We love y'all, and keep fighting.